Meow, 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 meow.
Thanks, Coding Cat. Welcome everyone to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack a step-by-step builder's blueprint for constructing a valid Open Knowledge Format, or OKF, version 0.1 bundle, totally from scratch. If you're looking to create knowledge systems that are seamlessly readable by both humans and AI agents, you're in exactly the right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's the roadmap for our build today. We'll start with Section I, Building OKF Bundle Structures. Then Section 2, Configuring YAML frontmatter blocks. Next up, Section 3, Handling reserved OKF file names. After that, Section 4, Cross-linking for file stability. And finally, Section 5, Versioning and conformance requirements. Let's get to it.
Before we start actually building, we've got to define the foundational unit of the whole project, right? The knowledge bundle. Think of a bundle as the primary shipping container for your information. According to the OKF specification, it's basically a self-contained hierarchical collection of knowledge documents. What makes this so practical is that you can distribute this bundle simply as a Git repository, which, by the way, is highly recommended for tracking history and diffs, or as a basic tarball, or even just a subdirectory sitting inside a larger project. It's super flexible.
Now, the entire architecture of an OKF bundle is driven by this idea of agent interoperability. Basically, it's the dual perspective that your knowledge needs to be perfectly readable to a human being without any special clunky viewing tooling, while at the exact same time being structurally parsable so that AI enrichment agents can write into it and consumption agents can traverse it. You really don't need bespoke SDKs to make this work. It relies completely on established, universally understood formats.
Section I, Building OKF Bundle Structures. Let's lay the foundation for our construction project and build out the actual directory structures.
Building a bundle is literally just 3 straightforward steps. Step 1, you create a root directory. Step 2, you organize your subdirectories. And a really important note here, the OKF spec completely does not care about your specific domain. You organize these folders however makes the most sense for the knowledge you're capturing, whether that's databases, API endpoints, or business metrics. Then step 3, you just populate those directories with standard UTF-8 Markdown files. Each of these files represents a single concept.
I really want to emphasize the elegance of this minimal standardization. Unlike a lot of heavier frameworks out there, there is absolutely no central schema registry. There is zero required proprietary tooling. It is literally just a directory of Markdown files equipped with YAML frontmatter. As the spec proudly points out, if you can use the cat command to read a file and you can clone a Git repo, you've already got all the skills you need to build and ship OKF bundles.
Let's move to and see how this builds Section 2, Configuring YAML frontmatter blocks. This focuses on the framing phase, where we add that structured metadata to our concepts.
Every single concept document in your bundle has to begin with a YAML frontmatter block. Notice the formatting here. It's delimited by 3 dashes on a line by itself, followed by your fields, and then closed with another 3 dashes. While the spec absolutely allows custom extensions, you really should include a title for a nice human-readable display name and a description, which acts as a quick single-sentence summary used by search snippets.
So the crucial point is the type field. This is the one and only strictly required field in your entire frontmatter block. It absolutely must be present, and it has to be a non-empty string. You, as the builder, get to pick descriptive values that make sense for your org, stuff like BigQuery table, playbook, or metric. Now, these types aren't registered centrally anywhere, but consumption agents are going to rely heavily on this exact field to route, filter, and correctly present your knowledge concepts.
Right below the frontmatter sits your standard Markdown body. To truly build an agent-friendly bundle, you really want to favor structural Markdown over giant walls of freeform text. Trust me, agents love structure. Use standard, conventional headings like hashtag schema to define your fields, hashtag examples to provide fenced code blocks, and hashtag citations to list external sources backing your claims. This predictable structure makes both human reading and agent retrieval just lightning fast.
Section 3, Handling reserved OKF file names. We need to talk about the specific routing rules of our blueprint and 2 files that have some very special privileges.
In the OKF spec, almost every Markdown file represents a unique concept, right? But there are 2 precisely defined, strictly handled exceptions, index.md and log.md. An index.md file is used purely for directory listings. It allows humans or agents to progressively see what's available in a folder before they actually open individual documents. A log.md file is totally optional, and it's used strictly to record update history using standard ISO date headings. Notice that, as a general rule, neither of these should contain YAML frontmatter, with one highly specific exception for versioning that we're going to cover in just a second. This brings us to a hard and fast structural rule for any OKF builder. Index.md and log.md must not be used for general concept documents anywhere in your hierarchy, period. If you have a concept about logging, name it something like system_logs.md. You have to keep those reserved names entirely clear so consuming agents don't just break when parsing your bundle.
Section 4, Cross-linking for file stability. Let's look at the wiring of the project and how we connect documents to express relationships.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the contrast between the two supported linking methods. In OKF, concepts link to one another using standard Markdown links. You can use absolute links, which start with a / and are interpreted relative to the bundle's root directory, or you can use standard relative links, which just path relative to the current documents folder.
As a builder, you should strongly prefer absolute or bundle relative linking. Why? Because it essentially guarantees long-term file stability. Think about it. If you use a / to link from the root and later a team member decides to completely reorganize the subdirectories and moves the document you're working on, your absolute links won't break. It's just a superior architectural choice for maintaining a healthy knowledge base over the long haul.
Let's talk about the semantics of these links for a second. The link itself basically just says, hey, these two concepts are related. It's the surrounding prose in your Markdown that dictates the actual type of relationship, like whether one depends on another or joins with it. Furthermore, any consumption agent reading your bundle absolutely must tolerate broken links without crashing. In OKF, a broken link isn't a bug, it's practically a feature. It often just represents a placeholder for not yet written knowledge, anticipating how the bundle is going to grow in the future.
All right, home stretch. Section 5, Versioning and Conformance Requirements. This is where we make sure the bundle actually passes technical tests for interoperability.
To ensure organizational knowledge systems can read your bundle correctly years down the line, you have to declare the OKF version. You do this by adding OKF_version 0.1. Now, pay super close attention to where this goes. It goes exclusively in the frontmatter block of an index.md file located at the very root of your bundle. Nowhere else. This is the one and only place where frontmatter is permitted inside an index file.
OKF relies on semantic versioning for the future. As the spec evolves, a minor version bump is going to introduce backward-compatible additions, like new optional fields or conventional headings. A major version bump, on the other hand, would mean breaking changes, like renaming required fields or maybe altering those reserved file names we just discussed. Setting your version correctly ensures consumers know exactly how to parse your metadata.
And this brilliantly illustrates the final checklist every single builder has to follow to achieve technical OKF conformance. Before you ship, check 3 things. 1. Does every single non-reserved Markdown file have a valid, parsable YAML frontmatter block? 2. Does every single frontmatter block contain a non-empty type field? And 3. Are your reserved files, like index.md and log.md, following those strict structural rules? If yes, boom, your bundle is technically conformant.
Now, outside of that strict 3-point checklist, OKF enforces what's known as a highly permissive consumption model. Basically, if you're building a tool to read these bundles, you must not reject a bundle just because it's missing some optional fields, or has a type string you've literally never seen before, or has extra custom keys, broken links, or missing index files. The whole system is designed for maximum resilience.
I want to leave you with this exact quote from the specification. This permissive consumption model is intentional. OKF is meant to remain useful as bundles grow, get refactored, and are partially generated by agents. I think that perfectly captures the philosophy behind everything we've built today. This isn't just a format for organizing files, right? It's a living architecture, intentionally designed to scale right into an AI-driven future where human knowledge and agent computation seamlessly interact. Are your knowledge systems ready to embrace that future? We'll hand the mic back to the boss for the final sign-off. See you later.